Ladies and gentlemen, filmmakers and moviegoers alike, welcome to Crick the Casual. I'm your host, Srekcuf5, and joining me, as always, is the other fantastic person who is always here. Hi, Dev. Dorkydev.
Not always here, but most of the time here.
Like 98% of the time here. But yeah, how are you doing today,
Yeah, that works.
Dev?
I'm doing all right. Just typing out the Instagram, my reshare of the Instagram post. Dude, the art this week is fucking awesome.
Sorry, I like that the gift that you shared is emotional Tom Holland, and I shared emotional Toby. That
We
makes
have a tendency to do the different movies. You know what I mean? I do appreciate us for that. Like, you tend to go for the first. I've noticed I always do the newest movie. Like, but you always hit the first movie almost. Like 9 times out of 10, you will do the first movie that we review.
less spoilers.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it because it's like it's the dichotomy, dichotomy, right? That's the word I'm looking for.
Dichotomy?
Yeah,
You're close.
of us.
Yeah. The duality of critically casual.
Critically casual. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm excited about this week. I really am.
I am so excited for this week. I am so ready for this week. Holy shit. Let's fucking go, Steven. Let's fucking go. Holy shit.
Let's talk about this week. This week I have called the show The Webs We Weave. And we're talking about...
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we're doing Spider-Man 2, and then we're talking about Spider-Man No Way Home.
All right.
I'm excited for this.
I'm so excited for this.
Well, anything else before we hop into the first movie?
I mean, I guess we just got to start, don't we?
I think so. Let's web sling our way in here, shall we?
With Spider-Man 2, which was released June 30th of 2004, with a budget of $200 million estimated. Opening, oh, excuse me, hiccup. Opening weekend, U.S. and Canada, 88 million. Gross U.S. and Canada, 373 million. And a worldwide gross of 788 million, almost 4 times its budget.
So this doesn't make money, not at all, no.
Dude, and I will say, is this the best of the Raimi trilogy? Unfucking doubtably. Is this the best Spider-Man movie ever made? Undoubtedly not.
I was about to say, even more?
Because I'm not gonna lie, like, if this movie cuts half the Mary Jane shit, all the Mary Jane and Harry Osborn shit, this movie becomes so much better.
But it's all emotional for he needs to be human.
It's not though. I don't care. I don't care.
But can't
the
Peter
amount of
Parker
times
live
I was
for himself?
I paused when it wasn't a Doc Ock moment was stupid because I would pause to go do other shit. I love this movie. I grew up with this fucking movie. Literally, this movie came out in 4th grade for me. I remember like watching this movie and just being enthralled by it. It's not as good as I think people hold this movie to such a weird goddamn pedestal. And that's what bugs me about it. Because I do love this movie. It's iconic. It is Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
It's got Alfred Molina's goddamn Doc Ock. It's got the Spider-Man No More. It's got, you know,
the best J.K. Simmons laugh ever.
Yes. Yeah, it's got J.K. Simmons as goddamn fucking chewing up the scene. J. Jonah Jameson. Like, he chews it up so well in this. But it gets so held back by horrible person James Franco, who does this movie no benefits being in it.
Yeah, he's not very good in this movie.
There's no reason for him.
Is that bad?
Kirsten Dunst has nothing to do in this movie other than be told that you're going to be the most wishy-washy person in the movie.
Hmm. You're gonna love
And you're
him, then you're
going
gonna hate
against,
him, then you're gonna love him,
well,
then you're gonna hate
and
him.
that sucks because you're going against Spider-Man No Way and No More, um, which is supposed to be the most wishy-washy Peter Parker, like, and which makes this movie feel super wishy-washy. And like upon reviewing, like, I still love this movie. Yes,
Hmm?
goddamn yes, it is the best Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. But do I still stand to my guns on saying that The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield is a better Spider-Man movie? Yes. Without a doubt, it is a better Spider-Man movie because it does something that this movie can't. It modernizes. This movie is stuck in old school doofus ass Peter Parker. And like, I get it. That's his version of Peter Parker, but it's not my favorite version of Peter Parker. I
Hmm.
like a Peter Parker who isn't the like, I get it. He's supposed to be a nerd. You could make him a nerd. Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker is a nerd, but he's also just not a fucking doofus the entire time. Sure, he stumbles trying to talk to Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy, but like it feels human. It feels natural. It feels gushy and like gross. And you're like, get a room. But it feels real. Any scene that Toby and Kirsten have together, I just don't care. Which is not what you want for Spider-Man and MJ.
I also like the one good thing about this movie, honestly, has to be Alfred Molina.
Oh, without a doubt.
And it's all I think that's why people hold this movie up to such a high pedestal. Because Molina is a great actor. Doc Ock is in such a compelling character, especially to the foil that is Peter Parker. Because the last movie we had Green Goblin, who was literally the negative, the anti version of our Peter Parker, where he is like, I can get what I want and I'll fight for it to have it, and I'm selfish and whatnot. Where in this one,
It's
it's
Spider-Man One Bad Day.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Alfred Molina has one bad day and everything changes about his life, and it wasn't even really a bad day.
No. Yeah. I mean, that's a good way of putting it. And he chews up the scenes that he's in, and like he has it. The fact that he did like his stunts and stuff like that, like he's so like invested. The fact that he let them pinch like needles into his back for
Mhm.
the scene, like my god, dude, you are method, and I love it. And he
Ooh.
chews up everything. I hate it too because I hate needles, but my god, do I admire when someone does something crazy like that for a scene? Because like, goddamn, that's impressive. He chews it up and he does a great job and he's fun and he's like he's he is golden age Octavius, you know what I mean? Like
Mm.
this, he is a golden age for a golden age Spider-Man. And I love it. He's a great Doctor, and he could be like he plays a Doctor that could be like golden age or even almost bronze age, which is the current age, our modern age of comics. Um if you don't know your terms and stuff like that, I know not everyone follows that kind of, the lines on that.
I sure as hell don't.
I know. That's why I was trying to explain it.
That's
Not.
quick side tangent off of something like that really fast. There's the same thing said about movie making too. Like there's the golden age of cinema, which I think is fucking bullshit because it's
I think
like
it's bullshit with that.
yeah.
Comics make sense, and I can explain why there are ages to comics.
Mhm.
Because of and I guess it kind of makes sense for movies too. It depends on outside forces. The reason why comics have three ages is you have the golden age when they started.
Mhm.
Silver Age is when we started to get the comic books make you violent people, and that's when we get the Adam West era Batman stuff.
Mhm.
Is the best way to define it. And this version of Spider-Man is kind of a mixture of both those like eras.
Yeah.
Um, and then you have modern age, which is modern age comics,
Mhm.
like kind of from like Crisis onward, like the Crisis event in DC onward is kind of what
Mhm.
that's like defined by.
I got I get that, but the reason I say it's kind of bullshitty is not because of them being different ages, but their titles. Like Golden Age just assumes that the first age of comics was the best age of comics, is how it connotates.
I never looked at it like, I mean, it made sense before the Bronze Age. Just personal opinion, I think this age is the best age of comics. Because we get some of the best stories. Sure, we get some of the worst goddamn stories too, without a doubt, but that's because we have so many stories to tell in
Mhm.
comics that we get a lot of schlop with a lot of just immaculately written stuff. So, like I agree to that to a point, but it also makes sense from the timeline that it does need to be defined in some way. Because like Golden Age was literally the most free comics could be. Like you could just write about just about fucking anything.
Before they had to start self-regulating.
I know, yeah. Much like video games. But yeah, like I said, like this, and like don't get my little heated moment there about this movie wrong.
Mm.
I do love this movie.
It's still a good movie to
Um,
watch.
yeah, it's fun to watch. It's just as I age, this becomes less and less what I want from comic
Mhm.
book movies.
Like watching it this time around, I was sitting here, I was like, this is a lot more melodramatic than I remember it being. And um I remember like um I remember like the action being completely different in its writing, and watching it this time around, there was like the super cheesy like dramatic camera angles where you just like zoom push on different people's for their reactions, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely not as good as I remember it being. But I still love the story for Peter Parker and Dr. Octavius. Like, two of them, best part of this movie, hands down. I will keep saying that.
Yeah.
Trying to think anything else I want to talk about. I like the conversations that Aunt May and Toby end up having in this movie. That's probably something I would keep myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting. But yeah, get rid of Kirsten, get rid of Harry. Um,
Like they could be in the movie, but like honestly, I don't I don't want this Mary Jane and Spider-Man to get together. Like that's not a good thing.
no, yeah. There's literally times in this movie where he walks up and the music's negative and she's negative, and then he says like two lines, and then suddenly he's like, oh, okay, I appreciate you, you're fine again. And then 2 lines later she's like, no, I hate you. The music all sad and upset again. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't know women, but I'm pretty sure they're not that wishy-washy.
They're not. Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's my gripes with it
Hmm.
because it is literally like it has too much for a 2 hour and 7 minute, I believe is what I read. Right? That's
This movie
right.
is
Yeah, 2 hours
2 hours and 7
7 minutes.
minutes.
It feels longer because of all the stuff in it that doesn't need to be there, which is saying something. So yeah, I mean, that's just how I feel about it. Do I still love it? God, yes.
So,
But
random question,
yes,
just to extend this conversation a little longer, because I feel like it deserves a little more than 10 minutes of conversation.
that's fair. It is Spider-Man 2.
Mhm.
Listen, I'm not going to argue with you on like extending this conversation. That's fair because the next conversation is going to be long.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna
that's also I don't mind. Like I still I like we'll top it at 15.
sure, fine. I want to ask you: do you have a favorite bit character in this movie? Like
The elevator.
elevator? Yeah, the guy. I do
Yeah,
enjoy that. I was probably
that's my favorite moment.
For me, it's probably either the elevator or it's the snooty usher dude, and it's just like, I want to tie your shoes. You might want to fix your tie. All right, you're looking good. All right, you can't get in here. Fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, John Campbell, right? That's his name.
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. Sorry. God, I wish we would have gotten his Mysterio if we had a Spider-Man 4, but we had Spider-Man 3. Fuck that up. Anyways, um, would have been fantastic because like that scene, I forgot how good he was in that scene.
Hmm.
And that scene sold me on his Mysterio. You know what I mean? I would love a Spider. I know people are talking about like a Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 3, but I wouldn't mind a Spider-Man 4 too. Um,
Of course.
like maybe an animated special or something.
Yeah,
Make it happen, Sony.
because I don't think we'll ever see Toby in a suit again. I don't personally.
No,
No, not maybe. I mean, not
Spider-Man
after.
3 was the last time.
Yeah, not after Spider-Man 3. So, due to corporate what's whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I gotta say that is a great bit character as well. I like how we have our two favorites being the same. I agree, like just flipped because I like the elevator scene more because it's like if I remember the facts correctly when I watched them review it on they reviewed it twice on Kind of Funny because they did a rewatch through
Of
Spider-Man
course, yeah.
with like other people's opinions on it with Anthony Carboni and Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joined them for it when and they lost Kevin and Greg for it because Greg had a baby and Kevin just didn't want to go through the Raimi trilogy again. Understandably.
Like, I'm not doing that.
So Barrett Courtney was like behind it did the producing for that set of them too. But I can't remember if it was the first time they reviewed it or the second time, but I believe they talked about how because there's a lot of behind the scenes shit that happened with this movie as well that play into Three's misfortunes. Because this movie almost didn't happen the way it did. But I'm pretty sure they did that scene almost as a way to like get at Tobey Maguire. Because he was being a melodramatic asshole during stuff. And that's also why, there's the my back. Because he hurt his back. I mean, I believe, if I remember correctly, that scene was in the movie beforehand, but it's just funnier now. Because that he, like he was like, oh, my back and all this. And then he was actually fine and came back, because he was waiting. He wanted like X amount of money and stuff like that. Anyways.
Politics. I'm just kidding. People being assholes.
Movie politics.
So I guess
melodrama.
Lots of melodrama. Especially in this movie.
Yes.
So I guess we can move on. Fine.
Okay.
Here are your popcorn kernels, Dev. You get 10 of them. How many are you giving to Spider-Man 2?
I'm torn. Okay.
Just like Doc Ock's personality.
Yes. There's a nostalgic part of me that really just wants to give this a solid 8. What happened to your camera? I love that the audience can't see it, but the moment you did that, your box just illuminating green on the outside.
Yeah, I know. It's just darkness.
Because I'm surrounded by nothingness, and all of a sudden it was just green.
Yeah, just grumble.
As I was saying though, a part of me from a nostalgic standpoint really wants to give this an 8. But a part of me just can't. I just can't.
I don't blame you.
And like part of me wants to give it a 7.5. But there's just so much stuff in there that I'm just not a fan of. So I'm gonna give it a 7, I think. Which is lower than I expected myself to give it to going into this. But like talking about it out loud, I realize where I stand on this movie now.
But so yeah, this is a little lower than I was expecting. But we all learn, we all adapt. Wish
Yeah.
the fucking camera would work.
I mean, it's on.
Yeah, but it's not quite right yet.
Oh.
I kind of cheat, make this work. There we
Yeah,
go.
I know.
There we go.
There. Me.
There we go. I got it. So for me,
I had a Gatorade down here.
For me in this movie, I want to give it just a nice 7. Really all it needs. Really all it deserves.
Wow. Yeah, we're in agreement.
Just the best.
Could you imagine if we agreed on Revolutions last week? We would have gone 4 for 4. Holy shit.
Good thing we did it.
God, thank God.
See, that's the new Mayan apocalypse is when we agree on everything for 2 weeks straight.
No, Mayan apocalypse we agree on 3 movies in a row. Because I don't think we've done that since I've been keeping the ledger. So
Getting close then. Times are coming to an end soon, friends.
We have gotten close so many times because like the week we did Lin-Manuel, I gave Moana a 10, you gave it a 9, but everything else we agreed on. Like we did that Let me see what else there is. Yeah, because we've never gone 3 in a row. We just about did it. We just about did it with when we did Spider-Man 2002 with Fantastic Four being a 5 out of 5, Spider-Man being a 6.5, and then X-Men I gave an 8.5 and you gave it a 7.
So
Dude,
close.
we have come close so many times. I feel like the moment it happens, the show ends.
See, what happens is the multiverse will shatter, and yeah, I'm not gonna.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Okay, I guess, are we ready to start talking about our next movie?
I'm ready to talk about our next movie.
Okay. We're going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home.
Which I need to pull up one more thing as well. But released December 17th, 2017, with an opening weekend, US and Canada, at 260 fucking million. Current gross US and Canada, 297 million. Gross worldwide, $638 million. And real quick, I want to pull up box office numbers for this year.
Just trying to see the biggest opening weekend.
Of this year, yes.
Hmm.
Because it's up there. I think it's number 1, but I just want to get all my facts correct. Oh,
So if I type it in, according to the numbers.com, the top movie right now is Shang-Chi at domestic.
well, that's overall. I'm
Hmm.
going opening weekend.
I put opening week.
I know it beat Shang-Chi.
Third best opening weekend ever.
Domestic box office Mojo. So I have it here. Box office Mojo is usually is by IMDb, so that's why I usually use it. God, this list says some shit.
Yeah, it's all Marvel movies.
Number 1. Should I do the top 10?
Sure.
Okay. Number 10, and I'm happy this made it. Ghostbusters Afterlife at $117 million for opening weekend. This one's also a good one that made it. Free Guy, $121 million.
That's going to be relevant later, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have things to bring up.
Oh, okay. A Quiet Place Part 2 at $160 million. That's a hell of a jump. That's a about $40 million jump
Yeah.
between those two movies.
Completely
No
different genres.
Time to Die, barely etching that out at 160 million. 0.7. Eternals barely edges that out, 163 million. Then we get to the top 5. F9, The Fast Saga at 173 million, 10 million jump. Black Widow at 183 million, another $10 million jump. Then we jump. I hate that this is the top 3. Okay?
It's pretty terrible to be up there, yeah.
Fuck. At number 3, Venom Let There Be Carnage at $212 million. A about 30 million jump from Black Widow. You add another 12 million and you get Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings at 224 million. Then you add another $73 million opening weekend and you get Spider-Man No Way Home. Holy shit. What a jump.
A lot of money.
And I'm not going to lie. It deserved it.
Or
I thought it 100% did. Like, without a doubt, this movie deserved it because it did. It does what it set out to do. This is the best live action Spider-Man movie we have ever gotten.
Okay.
This is, for me, a top 3 Marvel movie, if not top 2, if not number 1. This is everything I wanted it to be and more. Because it just, for me, for being a 2 hour and 2 hour and 28-minute movie, Jesus Christ, could I sit there for another 40 minutes? I don't know how to express this movie because, like, it has some of the coolest fights, okay? Like, of course, like, Doctor Strange is in the movie, obviously. And obviously they're going to face each other. But how that fight happens and how that goes down is perfect. It puts them on their moral planes because they are both right.
Mm-hmm.
It shows them using their strengths to perfection and does everything it needs to do and more. That is, like, there are so many hyper moments in this moment for so many more reasons. But for me, the reason why this is such a pivotal thing is because it is the perfection of showing who not just Spider-Man, but Peter Parker is. It is arguably the most Spider-Man moment. Because in the comics, Spider-Man has a lot of moments where he does and succeeds in what he does in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because of who he is, because of his mind, because of, and not just because with great power comes great responsibility, but because he can think, because he knows how to think through these scenarios. And it is so goddamn good. Like, the moment he does the thing where he says, oh, it's this, and does it, oh my God, my brain went, yes, you get it. You fucking get Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get it. Like, I can't express to you how much I love that moment. As someone who played the shit out of Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, who watched the movies, who has seen all the shows, like, who have read so many comics, just to see them do that moment was arguably one of the most Spider-Man moments we have ever gotten. And this movie has several of them. Like, I don't know how to express myself on how fucking awesome this is. Like, this movie set out to do something bold, crazy, and stupid. This was a stupid idea. But it did it, and it pulled it off somehow. And I get it. Like, my other thing about it, too, is, like, if you go into this, and I know you will, because it's what you have to do, if you go into this looking to pick it apart, you can easily pick it apart. But if you go into this as a Spider-Man fan, as I did, with, I do leave expectation at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough to leave all of it at the door, I will admit. Whatever expectation I walked into that building with, where I reclined my seat back because I was front row recliner.
Oh, I hate that.
It's great.
Depending on how close you are.
Yeah. It's got good distance. Like, you just recline back and you're fine. Like, I don't have to move my head. Okay, that's how
my theater. You still have to move your head if you're in the front row,
even if it's a recliner.
Yep. Because you're just so close and the screen's so wide, it's like, oh, okay, this is what's going on.
Ours doesn't do that. But our theater is only like that. The front row is only like 10 seats wide.
Okay.
In the VIP,
mm-hmm.
So it's like a smaller screen, so it works because it's not like the regular theater size.
Mm-hmm.
It's a smaller format theater, which works perfect for VIP. And also it's one of those movies that, like, it had endgame moments where the audience literally, like, and you can't help to be a part of it and, like, literally be like, holy shit, this is happening.
There was definitely claps in my theater. Yeah. People are like, yeah! And I was like, just enjoy the movie.
Oh, shut up, you snob. Let me have this. Because, my God, those are, like, to have other nerds and people be able to sit there and be like, this is what we want, and it's happening right. It's happening well. There's stuff in this that, like, if you know about spoilers, you know about spoilers that happen in this movie that, like, I can't believe happened. But, like, even the stuff that feels a little out of place makes sense to feel out of place, because, like, if you, like, on the poster, like, that I'm looking at right now, and you guys are looking at right now, you could see Green Goblin, you know Doc Ock's in it, you see Electro, and you see a figure back there. I won't fully reveal. Can you tell exactly what that is?
I can't, but I know who it is because I've seen the movie.
Fair. You have an idea of who the other two are in there.
You can kind of put clues together.
Yeah. Um, do some of them feel a little out of place? Yes, but they're supposed to, and it because of where they come from. Like, they feel like they're out of place because of where they come from, and it works. This is what it needed to be, and it did it. Like, do I feel like, Doc Ock should have felt like he belonged in this universe? No, because he's not Doc Ock from this universe. Like, that's just how it's supposed to be, and they did it. They fucking did it, man. I don't know how else to put it. And my God, dude, Tom Holland acts his fucking ass off in this movie.
Tom Holland's great.
Like, he's so good. Zendaya and Jacob Batalon are fantastic in this. Like, as being his support, they do so good in this movie. And Benedict Cumberbatch is fantastic in this, as always, as Doctor Strange. He does a great job. And Marissa Tomei is fantastic. She is such a good May Parker.
She was, yes, great May Parker.
Like, I don't know how else to put it. She's iconic. And yes, like, everyone coming back, that, Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, I feel like they're great in this. Like, yeah, out of all of them, Jamie Foxx is probably the weakest link, but, like, you're putting Jamie Foxx against Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina. Like, we just talked about it last one. Alfred Molina literally chews up the scenes and Willem Dafoe gets to be so just perfect in this movie.
It's great to see Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin again.
It's just he gets to Defoe it up. And apparently, you want to know why he came back to do this movie? He came back on one condition: he gets to do his own stunts.
Oh, that's cool. He's like, I want to ride the glider, damn it.
Yes. There's a scene where, like, it's not really a spoiler because, like, it's gonna happen, but Spider-Man is punching Green Goblin in the face, and William Dafoe is just laughing, and it is so unsettling. But it's so fucking good when it happens. Holy shit. But yeah, like, it's just, dude, I don't know how else to put it. This is what it needed to be, and it did it.
Okay, you ready for my side?
Yeah, go for it. I've done my part. I will let you talk. I know you're gonna chew it apart.
I'm not gonna completely chew it apart at all, because sitting there and watching this movie in the theater was a hell of a great time. I sat down, I turned off my brain, I enjoyed everything I saw. And then I turned it back on once the credits started rolling, and I started thinking about everything.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, watching the movie, it was a lot of fun. I sat there, and I was one of the loudest people in the theater from times, being like, oh, wow, oh my goodness. Like, I did a lot of those one-liners.
That reveal in the house, the brick scene?
Yeah, the brick scene, pretty damn cool.
Holy shit! Holy shit! I mean, I knew it was gonna happen because, like, I couldn't avoid spoilers because I was a sucker for this one. Like, I was like, I don't normally, but I was sitting here like scraping things, looking for stuff. I'm like, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. So I'm like, I walked into this not expecting anything that I've seen to be real. And that scene, I was like, yes!
It was pretty cool. We'll definitely talk about that in spoilers for sure.
Yes.
Especially when we're going to have to spoil other things too. when we
Oh,
talk about this
without
as
a
well.
doubt.
So,
Yes, dude. We're gonna have to spoil stuff for the list, okay?
true.
We will do one. We will rank this movie, and then we will talk about what happens after.
Mhm. But for this movie, I like sitting down watching it from beginning to end. I had a blast. I thought it was great. I had a hell of a good time. But then I started thinking about it, and one of the movies that came to mind was Free Guy, because I liked Free Guy. I thought it was a fun, entertaining movie. Um, and a lot of the parts that had the biggest hype in the theater were the Marvel moments in the movie, where it's not because Free Guy earned the super huge hype because of everything that it's done so far, but it like stole some of the hype and the encouragement from the MCU and threw it into its franchise. And I feel like this entire movie is that as well. Where it's like, where don't get me wrong, there's great Spider-Man moments, there's great fight scenes. It's just I feel like a lot of the moments that we get aren't really earned, other than the fact that these
Oh,
movies have been around for 20 years. Like,
my argument for that,
mhm,
um, is that this does something that I think other Spider-Man movies were scared to do.
mhm.
Um, I don't know how to put it. Is that like I feel like this is perfectly. Are we shocked? No, and we'll talk about that. Um, I appreciate you keeping it spoiler free while we're keeping it spoiler free.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Good chat. um,
Appreciate that for sure.
yes. Um, no, my thought process on this is that I think that from the standpoint of the story that we've gotten from Tom Holland, this is where this needed to go.
Mhm.
This is perfect. This is the perfect point to take it because without spoiling things, this is the perfect Peter Parker origin
I mean, I
as
don't,
Spider-Man.
yeah, I don't disagree necessarily. It's just that,
So I feel it's earned, at least.
yeah,
That's my opinion on that.
but like what I mean behind that is a lot of the big important like all of the big moments that we get are because of characters that we've seen on screen before. And it's not because say like in the first movie where the Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi trilogy, the very first movie when we get to see Green Goblin. Green Goblin is such an important character to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man because Green Goblin in that instance is Peter Parker's father figure in a way that Uncle Ben never was, especially because he's dead, and the way that his own father never was. And like he was there for graduation and he like was trying to hire him, and it was such a blow that this person who he was admiring and like thought he could be a family with was the big antagonist that was causing all the problems in his life at that moment. And then it happens again in the second movie with Alfred Molina and Doc Ock, where he admires this person and he wants to truly be them. And then he gets to watch them be corrupted by their own greed and power. And that's what makes Alfred Molina and Doc Ock in that movie so intense and like awesome to watch. But in this movie, we have Tom Holland, who is a great Spider-Man and a great Peter Parker, and then he goes up against Alfred Molina, and it's awesome to see Doc Ock done by Marvel, the current Marvel that we have, and we get to see the fight scenes that they do. But other than it being an awesome spectacle, it didn't feel earned. Like there's
I
no reason why these two should be fighting other than Doctor
Yes,
Strange.
yes, agree to you to a degree, but I think it works perfectly from a narrative standpoint that yes, this is a culmination of 20 years, but and also because of some other stuff, and I'll talk about it in spoilers.
Mhm.
Because it's not just like because like Alfred Molina and Spider-Man stuff, like it's also like just comic book movies in a whole. This is like a almost a send off too, from where we started
In a way,
to
yeah,
where we are.
absolutely.
Um, because and I'll talk about it a little bit more, but because of where the final fight happens. Do you know what movie we've seen that in before, where that fight happens?
That final fight, I'm
Yeah, where the
pretty
final fight happens there.
uh I don't off the top of my head. No.
We reviewed it this year. X-Men,
Okay.
which was one of the first, is the first superhero movie that set us to where we are right now. Like, without X-Men, we don't have Spider-Man No Way Home.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I feel like this is a
there's
love letter to what we've gotten, before, while also being a story about how Peter Parker handles a situation that is so out of his control, on so many variables.
Yeah,
while also being so in his control.
Like, I definitely agree with you. This is 100% a love letter for comic book movies, especially Spider-Man comic book movies.
Yes.
Like, I see, and that's why I wasn't so harsh about it in the beginning, and why I loved it, because I have seen every single Spider-Man movie. I also grew up with
have
Raimi.
reviewed every single Spider-Man movie.
Like we haven't even reviewed every single MCU movie. Like, I understand why Doc Ock attacked, and
it's just Steven's point is more about the fact that it's
not an earned character moment. It's just
it's
thrown
not
in
an
there.
Earned character moment for Tom's Spider-Man, but it's an earned character moment for us, if that makes sense.
Like, everything is, I mean, it's fan service if you want me to boil it down that far.
But let's be real though. There's bad fan service and then there's good fan service, and this is arguably the best fan service. Like,
unless you're a fan of Doctor Strange, because this movie does Strange pretty dirty. But whatever.
Shut up. We'll get there. I love it. I love what they did to Strange.
Well, okay, I mean,
are we talking about the thing about
that thing? Yes, but also just in general, his abilities and his struggle are downplayed because of this movie as well.
I still love it. But and I agree. But you're a Strange fanboy, so I'll allow it. I'll allow
problem, but yeah.
I'll allow it. Where's your Funko? Where's your Funko at?
It's over there on the wall.
Okay, got it. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree to a point, but at the same time, I agree with because I watched, of course I watched a couple of reviews on this beforehand. Because how can I not? It's No Way Home.
You have to spoil your review by other people's reviews. I see how it is.
Yeah, kind of. But I'm gonna emulate Cosmonaut Marcus a little bit. This is one of those movies that, of course, we're still gonna give it a number. But he's like, I can't give this a number like I couldn't give Endgame, because that's not what this movie is.
I get you.
And I agree to a point, because I'm not really gonna give it a number. You already know what my number's gonna be.
Yeah.
I don't have to say the number to know what the number's gonna be. You all already could figure what I'm going to rate this movie, because it's the most stereotypical thing Dev is gonna do.
Yeah.
But I have to, because this movie's made for me. It is 100% made for someone like me who grew up playing goddamn Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, who played Ultimate Spider-Man, played the Spider-Man PS2 era games, played all the games, read the comics, went to Hastings and just sat there and read comics, because they let you get away with that, and just watch the movies, watch the shows. I watched Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. For shit's sake, who, millennial-wise, sat down and watched Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends?
I definitely did.
Exactly. The only one I will for sure say I have not seen an episode of is that weird animated one with, I think, Neil Patrick Harris as Spider-Man.
Okay. Have you seen Japanese Spider-Man, where he is a mech pilot?
Okay, no, I haven't. But
but that has nothing to do with Americanized Spider-Man. So no worries.
But you know what? I can't wait to see him if he shows up. I can't wait to see him in a Spider-Verse movie. That'll be so fucking dope. He deserves to be in a Spider-Verse movie.
Just giant mech Spider-Man in the background. Yeah.
Yes. Him and Penny mech suiting it up would be awesome.
That'd be pretty funny.
Okay. But no, I agree to your points, but you know me, I can't.
Yeah, of course.
It can't hurt it for me.
I also feel like this whole thing, just because, yeah, we definitely might get that in another Spider-Verse. Um, I also feel like the ending itself was wrapped up too neatly, you know? Like,
Oh, yes, but in the most unneat way, because it sets us up for what I mean by, like, we can only talk about it in spoilers, really,
mhm,
because it is the end of the movie, but it's why I think this is the best Peter Parker origin.
I get you, yeah. Like, kind of like with the Marcus Devil May Cry in here. Like, I watched it and I didn't quite understand. I understand what happened, but I don't understand why that worked. Because because the problem was
I
completely different than the spell that was cast.
I can explain it.
Well, of course you can.
What's up? That's what I'm here for.
Uh-huh.
That's why I wear the Marvel tee every time we do a Marvel movie. I
Mhm.
have one of the Captain America shirts I wear. I need more Marvel shirts, I'll admit. I got 2 right now. Haven't expanded my wardrobe in a while, all right? We'll get there
We'll
eventually.
get there one of these days
One of these
when we
days.
make money.
I mean, I make money, but I just don't buy shirts. So, and also, if I've been buying stuff to style myself, it's been less graphic tees and more like actual style
I
and
was about
stuff
to say,
like
I
that.
just been
So
getting plain shirts. Keep it
that's
simple.
fair. Um, but do you have anything else you want to say?
Let's see things that I want to say. Hmm. Let's say I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. I liked the music. I liked the character. I enjoyed pretty much all the fights.
Also, thank you for the follow, by the way, Marcus.
Absolutely, thank you. I just don't. Yeah, like I said, I just don't like the
Oh yeah, the
character
music is
story
fucking
itself.
fantastic in
Yeah,
this, dude. The music like goes so fuck. It takes that because I mean I've been a fan of the Holland theme, the where they incorporated the Spider-Man song into the theme,
yeah. I think the
and
song's
this
called like
movie,
"Young Peter."
yeah,
But
um, and this movie just takes it and goes fucking hard with it, um, and I love that, and then it incorporates some other themes that like when they do, it's like God damn it, yes,
yeah, these are some good needle drops that we have here, including the
yeah.
Christmas needle drop that we had in there at one point. He just flies through a mall or something, and then you hear Christmas music in the over speakers, and I just had to laugh. I was like, "Of course, there's fucking Christmas music right now. You can't escape it."
Can't escape it. We work retail. What do you expect?
Uh-huh. Oh fuck.
Always and forever.
Yeah, I just guess ultimately my end result is, while this was my only real big complaint is I just don't feel that it's a great Tom Holland solo story myself. Don't get me wrong, it's a great Tom Holland story. I love the development that we get, but I don't like how we got it because it felt forced, and in a kind of a way it was, but also at the same time it was earned because we've been watching these as fans for 20 years. It's just I'm conflicted on it a
That's
little,
fair.
but yeah. Um but ultimately, like, I feel like I feel like if I haven't seen the Screen Rant video for like the pitch meetings, but I love pitch meetings, and I'm pretty sure they released a video for this. And I'm pretty sure
I've stopped watching those. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
kind of enjoy them still. But I'm pretty sure what the main line in this thing will in their version of this is he's from the other movie. Because that's what this whole movie is. You literally have to watch 12 hours worth of backstory to understand everything in this movie. A
But
lot of homework
yeah,
to enjoy a movie.
you know what? I disagree. You don't have to because I feel like they give you enough information that if you haven't seen the other things, you understand what's going on. I would almost argue that like you almost just need to watch the Holland movies, if that. This movie feel stands alone very well.
Maybe. Like, I don't think you'll get nearly as many of the emotional impacts that
No, no, no.
we're
But I
supposed to
feel like
get.
as a story, you can watch it on its own.
Maybe. There was definitely a moment in the theater where, like, our characters get a hero landing, and they stand right next to each other for the first time in full outfits, and it's like, oh. And there was one person, the person right to my right, they tried to start the clap. They're like, yeah, and no one was in it. It was one of those moments where I was like, you tried, but
oh, the embarrassment.
yeah.
The cringe. That is cringe. That is pure, unadulterated cringe, like in its purest form.
And it was definitely supposed to be one of those moments in the movie where you're supposed to be like, yeah, hero moment.
Our theater didn't clap. We cheered a little bit though. We went, yeah.
But yeah, we didn't even get that.
there was a lot of, like, a little bit of a like kind of cheering a little bit. Like, I don't know how to explain the cheer, because like it can only be emulated by being there, you know what I mean? But yeah,
one of those like,
damn.
whoa, oh.
Yeah, like we're seeing it, because like the build to that moment and the things that happen, like the kind of like, oh my god, it's so good. Oh, all right.
Yeah, you're fanboying. I get it.
Yep. Steven, are you ready for your popcorn?
Yeah, I'll take my popcorn kernels.
Okay.
This movie, definitely watch it. Just be ready to get angry at the post-credit scenes, because I got really angry at this post-credit scenes.
I'm going to argue with this. Okay, we'll argue this for a second.
Okay.
If you're a sane person, the post-credit is fine. But if you're someone who literally avoids trailers like the plague, I understand why you were upset. Because they haven't done something like this, I think, since, like, God knows how long ago.
We literally just said last week.
America?
Yeah, we literally just said last week. Thank God they don't put trailers as the post-credit scenes anymore. And then they fucking did it. Oh. You realize? Yeah, I know. There's so much cosmic bullshit.
The moment I saw it, I not in the moment, like it was like the drive home. I went, oh, Steven's gonna see the trailer for that.
Yeah,
Do I let him know to leave beforehand?
The
No, this
voiceover
is content.
The voiceover hit, and I was like, no. Fuck you, no. This is trailer voiceover. No. And well, now I know plotline for Multiverse of Madness more than I wanted to. Okay.
Oh, goddamn, do I love it. But if you're a sane person, that post-credit's fine. If you're
fine.
Steven, or like Steven, where you just avoid trailers like the plague, leave before the last post-credits.
Please. Do yourself a favor.
Could I have been a good friend and let it happen? And told him?
It's
yes.
fine.
But did I see the moment that this could have been fucking hilarious? And it was for me? Yes. The amount of times that this man has put me through pain and suffering. For me to just have a moment of it, it was priceless. And agreed, Mountain Wed does need to be cast. All right. What's your popcorn?
My popcorn is a straight, solid 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10's fair. I'll give it to you. That's fair.
Better than most movies I've scored this year.
Yes. We already know what I'm giving it. I'm giving it a 10. This is arguably my favorite Spider-Man movie. Like, I would say it arguably is my favorite superhero movie. I don't know how else to put it. So that puts it at a 9 overall. And puts us at the end. Now, do we do it the way that I said at the beginning? We do the one, and then we worry about the rest?
Yeah, let's do the one, and then we'll worry about the rest.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the MCU. The MCU list. All right. But, ladies and gentlemen, coming in at 34.
Does that count yet? I don't think it counts quite yet.
Sorry. My bad. Coming in at 33. I gave it 6 spaces in case of something, but you know what? I will allow it to move up. Coming in at 33, we have Venom. At 32, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Jumping to 26, we have Thor, The Dark World. At 25, Incredible Hulk. 24, Thor. 23, Iron Man 2. 22, Iron Man 3. 21, Avengers Age of Ultron. 20, Black Widow. 19, Captain Marvel. 18, Eternals. 17, Captain America, the First Avenger. Finally in a place that I can accept. 16, Ant-Man. 15, Ant-Man and the Wasp. 14, The Avengers. 13, Iron Man. 12, Guardians of the Galaxy. 11, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Number 10, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 9, Doctor Strange. Number 8, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 7, Black Panther. Number 6, Spider-Man Far From Home. Tied at number 4, we have Thor Ragnarok and Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. At number 3, we have Avengers Infinity War. At number 2, Captain America Civil War. And at number 1, Avengers Endgame. So we're adding Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm going to start the bidding off. It's top 3 by far.
Top 3.
I think it is more rewatchable than Infinity War and Civil War.
Okay.
And arguably more rewatchable and enjoyable than Endgame. Not to say that these movies are bad. This is like fucking trying to figure out which of these perfectly done diamonds are the best.
What's the carat number of this diamond?
They're down to decimals. Like millions. If not trillions apart.
See, I don't entirely know how I feel about third.
About Avengers Infinity War?
Well, I mean, just like placing, No Way Home at third. Because, like, don't get me wrong, this was a fantastic movie. And it was a lot of fun to watch. But I think even though I, like, talked so much shit about Infinity War when it came out.
I'm so confused.
I don't know. Like,
I'm so confused.
I don't know. My first thought was putting it in 4th place. Putting Thor Ragnarok in 6th place and Shang-Chi in 5th place.
So we have our official ranking on that. Shang-Chi better than Thor Ragnarok?
I think so.
Okay, I'm cool with that. Give me a second to fix that. So, a few things going on with this list today, by the way.
No worries. Yeah.
All right, so we'll do that. So officially breaking the tie, Shang-Chi comes in at 4th. Then currently, right now, before we rank things,
only because I been watching Shang-Chi. I've watched it a few times since it came out on Disney Plus. I definitely enjoy it more than Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured we would rank it as, but we wanted to decide that. Okay.
The only reason why I have a hard time moving it above like the Infinity War and Endgame myself is because I feel, at least with Infinity War and Endgame, they have the big fan servicey moments in them for sure, but they're all within one universe that they've been accumulating for the past 10 years, rather than giving characters from the last 20 years just with the same name because they can. They're owned by the same property.
My point of having it higher is because from a narrative point with what they do with Tom Holland as Peter Parker, I feel it does something that I feel other Spider-Man have been scared to do, and that's really just make it put him into a spot where he is going to be the most comic accurate Peter Parker we have ever gotten. More comic accurate than the Amazing Spider-Man. And I said that I think that is the most comic accurate Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So I'm personally going to say it should go at least into at least 2 or 3. I'm okay not putting it over Endgame because that's, again, we're comparing diamonds. Um, but personal opinion, I enjoy this more than I enjoy Civil War, which is saying something.
That is saying
Because
something. You're a big fanboy.
yes,
So
hell
you're
yeah,
literally wearing a Captain America shirt right now.
I'm literally wearing. I have the shield
right behind your head. Yes,
I have a Captain America gingerbread Funko. Like,
they're
this
really
is not
milking
said.
Funkos.
This is not. Yes, they are, but like they're also great sometimes. Okay, fuck off. That is, so it's not me. I'm not saying this lightly. Like, I think it has to be. It's better than Civil War.
Man, that's also tough for me because me personally, I prefer Infinity War over Endgame, even though Endgame was great.
Like I said, we are comparing diamonds. This is the hardest thing. This is why this list was so hard for us in the first place. Because like it was where are we?
Yeah, the
So
hardest
taking out
part
movies
about this is this fucking compromise.
Yes.
With your compromising
I'm-
with your crazy ass.
Yes. All right. How about this? So you want to put it at 4? I want to put it at 1.
We put it at 2.5. I'm just kidding.
We put it at a 3-way tie for second.
I don't want to go into that extreme. Oh God. That would be funny. That would be just us too. Like, we fixed a tie and made a worse tie in the process. Let's say
It has to be 2 or 3, okay? Because
Yeah.
I'm at 1 and you're at 4. So it has to be one of those 2. I will let you make the final verdict. You know my opinion. You know what I say about it. You know where I stand on it. And personal opinion, we are willing to change the list later.
that's true.
So
You can always change it later.
Yep. This isn't set in stone for us. But I strongly do feel it is better than Civil War, which was arguably one of the most like comic book movie moments there were for me. Like seeing that movie in theaters.
Yeah, I gotta love the beatdown with Cap and Bucky
Yeah.
versus Iron Man there.
Plus the airport fight and a lot of like the actual like the fact that it was challenging
the introduction to Spider-Man into the MCU.
Also the fact that like and Black Panther, like iconic characters to us at this point. And also like it has like one of the best like moral debacles in the MCU.
Absolutely.
Like,
I mean, this one does have a good moral debate too, where both sides of the argument are right, just like in that movie.
this is Civil War Endgame.
I guess for now we'll put it at 2.
Okay. Give me a second. Let me do the giant move.
Yeah, the big old highlight and move everything down.
Yes. So, bam. Okay. So, now that's there. I will not read off the list though, because from this point on we are talking spoilers. Because in order for this list to be complete,
I forgot.
we have to I can see you editing this.
Yep, yes you can.
That's awesome. We have to add the Raimi trilogy and the Webb duology into the MCU, which is fucking awesome, I must say. It's awesome.
Awesome, you say? Spoilers.
Yes. So, because of this movie, we have to do that. So, spoilers ahead. Yes, they're in the movie, okay? That's a very unpopular opinion, but I respect that you have that opinion. Me and Steven are very opposite ends of Eternals. That's why it's at 19. Um,
Yeah.
so, if you scroll down, you will see what I've ranked the Spider-Man movies so far, in my opinion, of what I think they are. Okay. Controversial pick, I know, but here we go. From bottom to top, I have Spider-Man 3 at the worst, Amazing Spider-Man 2 at second worst, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man. I think Amazing Spider-Man is better than Spider-Man 2. I stand by my fucking guns on this. I'm willing to switch those two if you want to, but this is the preliminary list of where we need to put these into this list. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How they must go in. If you want to switch Spider-Man 2 and Amazing Spider-Man, I'm fine with it, but that is where I stand on this list currently.
Amazing Spider-Man.
We got the Andrew, like essentially Andrew and Gwen being amazing. Sure, Lizard's not the strongest, but I think it has some of the best goddamn Spider-Man's web swinging moments plus POV.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Definitely, Lizard was one of the weakest villains, especially.
Yes, 100%. Like if we're comparing villains, easy Spider-Man 2. But if we're comparing everything else, I think Amazing Spider-Man. Like that scene when the car's dangling off the bridge and he takes off the mask and he like saves the kid is such a Spider-Man moment.
It's pretty adorable. I'm just thinking specifically about like. You know what? No, I think this is okay on
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Spider-Man 2, yeah.
Okay.
I'm only a little conflicted about switching the top two, but I think I can let it be for now.
Hey, I appreciate your honesty, Marcus. All right, so I guess we'll start from the bottom and work our way through this. Spider-Man 3, where do we put it? Do we put it at 31 or 32?
Spider-Man 3, 31. How many spots? We have 4 slots here? 5 movies? How did we do that?
There's 5 movies.
But we only have 4 slots between here and there.
Oh, do we? Oh, I guess they are at 30. Okay, I was right originally. Okay, never mind. Whatever. All right, do we put it at 32 or 33? I guess Venom moves down to 34. My argument for either is that like Spider-Man 3 is horrible, but it's funny to watch. But Venom Let There Be Carnage is probably a better movie.
I don't know, honestly.
But I
With
don't.
Venom Let There Be Carnage, I don't think I'd ever watch that again. But with Spider-Man
Okay,
3,
so Spider-Man 3, we put it above?
yeah, just it's so cringy and it has the Venom symbiote in it still, but I love it.
All right, cool. That's where we put it. That was the easiest one that was going to happen. The rest of these are actually going to be a
Are you
conversation.
sure we can't just cut and paste and just put the ball in a straight row there? I'm just kidding.
No, I can't because personal opinion, I'm pretty sure I like Spider-Man more than Thor Dark World. Spider-Man 2000. So first conversation, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Is it better than Thor Dark World?
Yes.
Okay.
Is
And
it
we move
better
that
than
down.
Incredible Hulk?
Which means by default, this jumps down to 31. Is it better than, would you watch this or Incredible Hulk? Amazing Spider-Man 2 with all the villains and mess and the Gwen Stacy scene, but some great Andrew Garfield, but it's horribly written and stuff like that? Or would you watch Incredible Hulk, which has some great action scenes, but is also horribly written?
I also like in the Incredible Hulk. I like the blood drop scene at the Coke factory. Not if that's the right movie.
Yep, that is.
I do enjoy that one a lot. And that actually took longer to film than the entire movie. So, fun fact.
So putting it below Incredible Hulk?
Um, yeah, why not?
Okay. So on to Spider-Man. Is Spider-Man better than Incredible Hulk?
Yes.
Okay.
I would go as far to say the original Spider-Man is possibly even better than Iron Man 3.
See, this is where I'm conflicted.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, yes, but also I really am as bad as these two Iron Man movies kind of are. They're meh on the scale. You know, actually, I agree with you. I think I agree with you. Okay,
Okay.
we'll move those down. Um, I think Age of Ultron's better though.
I would have to agree.
Okay,
And then jumping in there immediately as well, I still feel Age of Ultron's also better than Spider-Man 2. Because we just got done watching
We just got
Spider-Man
done
2.
watching it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Age of Ultron better than the Amazing Spider-Man?
It's funny because when I directly compare it to...
Also, the reason why we're putting it above, Marcus, I know this is controversial, but Age of Ultron, James Spader's Ultron is so goddamn good
yeah.
and chews up the scene. Like, he's so goddamn good as Ultron.
I gotta say, I was very disappointed with What If because it didn't have Spader as Ultron. I was like, oh, come on. Like, the voice that we got wasn't bad, but I was like, that's not quite
Spader.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, genuinely, it's coming down to that. I would rather, like, listen to Spader say there's no strings on me than Toby crying. Any given day.
See, like when I'm directly thinking about Amazing Spider-Man and directly comparing it to Avengers: Age of Ultron, I'm not sure if I would say Amazing Spider-Man is better, but I do think Amazing Spider-Man is better than Black Widow, which is weird.
I would argue that it could go at 19.
Next to Eternals or above Eternals?
Above Eternals.
Below Captain America. Above Captain Marvel. You know, I'm not really against that, honestly. And nothing really I'm not really disappointed by putting that there.
Holy shit, what a goddamn list. This is awesome. This is fucking awesome. Okay. God. Can we safe to say Tom Holland Spider-Man never had a been? We'll talk about that. That is something I do want to talk about during spoilers. So,
Oops.
with that,
I just pressed the
the
button.
list is as follows.
Have I messed up?
What'd you do?
I accidentally pressed a button.
Are we at spoilers?
No, number 23 on the list.
Oh. Oh, God, just hit undo.
Aha.
Thank you. God damn it.
Didn't think about that in a moment.
Anyways.
Panic gripped me.
All right. Listing off the movies, starting from garbage and going to the top.
Turd in the wind, and then going to the Infinity Stones.
To gems. Literal gems. All right. So, starting at 34. God, I can't believe I have to say 34 movies, but this is a dream come true, and God knows what Multiverse of Madness will throw at us. Who knows who else will appear? Starting at 34, we have Venom. At 33, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. At 32, Spider-Man 3, 2007. At 31, Thor Dark World. At 30, Amazing Spider-Man 2, 2014. 29, Incredible Hulk. 28, Thor. 27, Iron Man 2. 26, Iron Man 3. 25, Spider-Man 2002. 24, Spider-Man 2, 2004. 23, Age of Ultron, Avengers Age of Ultron. 22, Black Widow. 21, Captain Marvel. 20, Eternals. 19, Amazing Spider-Man. 18, Captain America, the First Avenger, which is where it should be. Higher on the list. You know, it's as high as it can go on the list. At 17, Ant-Man. At 16, Ant-Man and the Wasp. 15, The Avengers. 14, Iron Man. 13, Guardians of the Galaxy. 12, Captain America Winter Soldier. 11, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 10, Doctor Strange. 9, Spider-Man Homecoming. 8, Black Panther. 7, Spider-Man Far From Home. 6, Thor Ragnarok. 5, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. 4, Avengers Infinity War. 3, Captain America Civil War. 2, Spider-Man No Way Home. And at number 1, Avengers Endgame.
Take a breath, Dev. You earned it after that.
I got a break for a little bit, depending on Morbius. If Morbius is MCU, I don't get a break this next month.
No, I mean, especially too. How is Morbius not MCU? If we just think about the trailers,
it is, and I hate it. I hate it so much. It's 100% canon.
Yeah, based off of this movie, though, it doesn't make sense to me. It does. We need to go into spoilers.
Okay, so with that,
let's get ready to spoiler!
Morbius is 100% going to be canon, unfortunately.
See, I'm confused on that. Only because before we get into anything else, I want to talk about the 2 post-credit scenes. Because that's why I don't think Morbius is, like, he is canon, but he isn't canon simultaneously. Because
the problem is he's canon enough.
Yeah, because what we get in the first post-credit scene, that's the first thing that pissed me off, by the way. We get a post-credit scene from Venom 2 showing that Venom is in the MCU with Tom Holland. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. We go through the entire movie, don't see Venom once. He's not in the fucking movie at all. Then, to just add shits to giggles, in the wind, I don't know. They fucking show a post-credit scene with Tom Hardy, fucking drunk off his mind with Venom, talking to some random bar dude, and then he blips out of existence because his reality was shifted back to normal, I guess. And we get a little drop of Venom left behind. So, cool.
Perfect.
It's setting up Venom with Tom Holland in the Spider-Man universe that is the Sony MCU, I guess. But then Michael Morbius knows of
Venom
and makes fun of it and meets Falcon, who is in the MCU.
Not Falcon,
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, Vulture.
Vulture, that's it.
And yes, we did see, if you watch the trailer, the suit in the background, murderer is Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man in the background, from a PS2 screenshot, or not a PS2, Marvel Spider-Man screenshot of him in that suit. When you can do the screenshots and stuff like that. Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
That's not actually going to be Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man suit there.
Okay.
It's got to be the end scene Spider-Man suit, which is arguably the most comic accurate suit, but I will get to that. And it will be canon because we saw Michael Keaton's Vulture. This is going to be in the MCU.
Okay.
That, or it is Andrew's universe, which again, Amazing Spider-Man's on the list.
It is now, yeah.
So regardless of what happens, it's in one of those 2 universes. They're not going to make another universe just for Morbius. Because if it's in not one of those 2, he references Venom, which means he's in one of the 3 options. Unless Venom and Andrew's universe are the same.
That's what Marcus is saying here. Is Andrew Spider-Man.
Potentially, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there are 4 options we have. Option 1, MCU. Option 2, Andrew universe. Option 3, Venom universe. Option 4 is Andrew and Tom's Tom Hardy's universe are the same, and Morbius is in that. So there's really 4 options that we can go with here, all of them making them canon.
So yeah, it's either option A, B, C, or D, which is both B and C.
Yes.
What is the standardized testing? Fuck.
Yes.
But
by the way, option E is technically all the above.
Yes.
Technically A, but all the above.
And like, especially too, like I had to make the joke earlier with my dad. I was like, so for the movie pairings this week, we're doing the original Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man No Way Home. And he's like, the original Spider-Man 2, isn't that kind of a oxymoron there? And it's like, well, no, when you realize that there's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and there's Spider-Man 2 Far From Home. And he's like, he laughed, and I was like, you know what? This is the fucking Halloween version of Spider-Man version of Halloween.
Like, the problem, the benefit of this is it's all relevant.
Yeah, now it all matters.
With Halloween, none of it matters. You have 20 goddamn movies, and only 3 of them are gonna matter, depending on what you're watching.
And then, additionally, okay, sorry. So that was basically all I had for the post-credit stuff there, except for the freaking trailer, which, Don't get me wrong.
Goddamn, does it look so goddamn good?
It looks pretty darn cool, but I'm a little disappointed because yes, it's the multiverse of madness, but did they have to show us all that they showed us in the trailer?
We don't know who that one is, which version of Strange that is. It might not be what you think it is.
It may not be that strange. It may not be a Shimmegorath in the background. It. This may have something to do with this Spider-Man movie. Maybe.
It maybe, entirely possibly, ties into the giant tentacle thing from the What If series. The reappearing tentacle.
Yeah. That's why it has to be that fucking Dark Sorcerer Supreme, but whatever. I don't care.
You care, though, at the same time, because it's going to be fucking awesome.
It's going to be a great fucking movie, yes. But yeah, now there's...
what I want to see is, while they're doing all that shit, we get, like, X-Men as canon.
I mean, I could see it being canon now, because how many X-Men in all of the universes know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man?
None that we're aware of.
Okay. So, the only reason why is because this fucking ending, kind of like Marcus says, it's a little confusing. Because the problem starts with him deciding he wants to wipe everyone's memory that he is Spider-Man. Except for these 5 people, sorry. They said that intentionally. And because of Spider-Man's constant adjusting, the spell almost goes haywire, and it starts crossing the multiverses. Cool. Sure, I don't care. Then, to solve it all, as the multiverses are collapsing on each other, because the spell has gone out of control finally, Spider-Man says, make everyone forget I'm Peter Parker. And by casting that spell, not only does he stop the multiverses from collapsing in on each other, he sends everybody who was here back to their original universes as well. And they choose not to remember him. I feel like Doctor Strange probably remembers as well, but he's going to play ignorant. But only because I feel like they kind of make a reference that the caster still remembers things. Because the conversation with Wong about the party that they had.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree with what Marcus says there, but at the same time, yeah, he casts a memory wiping spell. And because they don't remember who Peter Parker is in this universe, the multiverses stop collapsing, because now they're not all coming to find the Peter Parker in this universe, I guess, because there is no Peter Parker in this universe, even though there governmentally kind of has to be, or else he's an illegal immigrant.
Still exists, yeah. He's still going to exist in the system. That's why he's going to be able to get his GED and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But no one remembers him.
Neither do the computers.
So the stuff that would have happened that, like, the stuff that, like, I don't know how to put it other than, like, it is some magic bullshit.
Yeah, like, I especially too, because, like, I didn't like, actually, that he had that GED book in the end, because it's understood that Peter Parker graduated high school, but now because he's wiped everybody's memory, he has to get a GED.
He hasn't graduated yet.
Not yet. He's trying to go to MIT, though, which makes me think he's about to graduate. But now,
it was his senior year.
Yeah, now he can't graduate because of this whole thing, which kind of made me upset. But whatever.
It's supposed to.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Yeah, it's supposed to make you sad and be like, "Oh man, he really sacrificed to be a hero." Like, I get,
but that is so fucking Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit! Like, where this movie ends. Also, okay. Honestly, the how of it is because magic. Like,
yeah, movie's got a movie.
Yes, magic's got a magic. Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme.
Or is he?
We'll get there. But in order for that to happen, like, he has the magic ability to do this. Like, it's a spell that will do it because he says it will do it. You just have to trust him.
This is D&D. You just have to give a good enough explanation, and it'll work. It makes sense.
Yeah. Does the door bend? There
is no door.
No, no, I'm making a Bender reference. And he's like, I'm gonna bend the door. You can't bend doors, it's wood. But it doesn't know. It looks pretty dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Futurama. I need to watch that show
Yes.
again.
But this is that. This is, yeah, it'll work. Like, if you, again, it's picking too hard at it. Why was Jamie Foxx there in the first place? He didn't know who Peter Parker was.
Nope, not at all. But
Why was
apparently,
he there? Who knows? Yes, magic affects technology. Because magic is science we just don't understand. But like, like, and I won't get too much into the end until we get until a little bit later, because there's stuff that I need to talk to before we get to the end.
Yeah.
So first, let's talk about your gripe of how they did Strange dirty, but it's hilarious.
It's hilarious that he's not the Sorcerer Supreme. I think that's funny. I found
great.
Yeah, I found Sorcerer Supreme Wong as my favorite line, like one-off line in this whole movie. I loved that. What I didn't like is the fact that Ned could learn how to use the sling ring the instant he put it on. When Doctor Strange had to sit there and struggle for 30 minutes of his own movie to be able to get it to work.
Reason being, Ned believes in magic.
Do you believe in magic?
Steven did not when he started.
Mm-hmm.
So he has more barriers between becoming a wizard than Ned did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, they literally say it was like a one-off where, like, I'm pretty sure his grandmother says he was a magician. There's like magic in his family or something. And I assume...
Yeah, they went offline it, but also because
yeah.
like, Ned is literally Spider-Man's man in the chair. He knows about Doctor Strange. He knows about magic. So he's not gonna, like, if he has magical ability, use any form of magical ability in him, fucking with a sling ring is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna do something.
And it was cool to see him with the levitation cape on.
Awesome.
I did like the magic of Spider-Man as well, where he has, I don't necessarily think it is magic, but it might be, because we do know in other universes Spider-Man does become the Sorcerer Supreme. So
moving his arm, like
while his soul was separated, and then he was able to put his soul back in on his own.
Do you know what that was?
No, I do not.
That was his spider sense, because if you see around his head,
mm-hmm.
there's wavies, which is the comic version
mm-hmm. of the
spider sense. That was one of the coolest fucking moments in the movie, and it's so subtle because it is like, he has spider sense. Of course he's gonna be able to avoid. It is literally a sense. Like, it is a natural reaction to things. Of course his body's gonna just do that, because it's gonna do it better than with him in his body.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I did think it was kind of funny. I did like that it was him being like, this was the coolest thing I've ever felt. Don't do it again.
Don't do it again.
Which I wonder why it was the coolest thing he ever felt. Like, I know that I feel like it'd be horrifying to see yourself separated from your own body, but whatever.
I mean, it's probably cool as shit, because you're like, oh, they're personing.
I'm weightless.
But that gets into arguably one of my favorite Spider-Man moments of all time.
The fight in the mirror dimension? Absolutely
was so
awesome.
good. And then him towards the tail end of the fight and figuring out how to win, him being like, it's math.
Mm-hmm.
Duh. It's math. You know math.
Yeah, you're good at math.
Winning the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the comics, he has beaten the fucking X-Men as a team. He beat the team, the X-Men, which God knows what powers you might be up against. He was able to think his way through that. Of course he's going to beat Doctor Strange, because he's smart. And not to say Doctor Strange isn't smart, but like, Peter's got to figure out a way to win that fight.
Hasn't every comic book character beaten every other comic book character at least once at this point?
Kind of, but it depends. You know what I mean?
Huh.
Depends on canon and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Depends on adaptation, who's writing and stuff like that. But like, consistently, like, Spider-Man is, people compare Iron Man to Batman all the time, right? but Spider-Man is the MCU's Batman.
That comment in the chat just yes, it's totally Spider Sense. The Peter Tingle is his
The
Peter
tingle.
tingling.
Anyways, that was arguably one of the coolest goddamn moments, though, of
I
seeing
was
like that fight.
I was definitely surprised to see him shatter like 2 dimensions of the mirror by slinging them together. That was something I was like, how could Spider-Man do this? That doesn't make sense because he shouldn't have any ability to control what's going on in the mirrors. But then I could completely understand him being able to math out a solution and then trapping Doctor Strange. That one perfectly makes sense.
It was awesome. I think Strange was the one who smashed him.
From
So he was smashing him to try to like disorient.
for my maybe I kind of took it as he like Spider-Man grabbed both sides and then he was like hit or pulled or something, and then when he was pulled away, the webs kind of pulled them together.
I think Strange did like a little like kind of like this. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah,
symboled it.
maybe.
Um, if I remember correctly, this is the one that I do need to go back and watch. Dude, but that fight alone is so goddamn good. But it also does such a good battle of, you know, Strange saying like, leave these men to their fate.
Hmm.
It's not on you.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is the one character who should know about like you can't change fate.
Yeah, if you could change your fate, would you? Um, but then like on the opposite end of his, like on his other shoulder, we get May being like, in Feast. I love that Feast was in this, by the way.
Mhm.
Goddamn, was as a fucking huge fan of PS4 Spider-Man. That was so fucking cool to see that. I was like, yo, Feast. Oh, they're doing it. May's running Feast. I should have known where this was going from that moment, though. Should have known. Anyways, we'll get there. We'll get there. Um, God, I'm thinking about. I just put that correlation together now. Like, I should have seen where this goes with Feast showing up. Anyways, her being like, "No, you have to help Norman,"
Mhm.
and like because of that, like him, like that scene where he's like, "Sorry," and does the thing, and they do the fight, and like him trapping him there and coming out and being like, "All right, guys, you're either coming with me or you're dealing with the wizard." Was
I
awesome.
I definitely like the moral conflict because Spider-Man's his whole thing is he wants to help everybody. He wants to make
Yeah,
everyone better, and I completely get that side of the story. It's the right thing to do, but also like the at the same time you have the centrist that is Doctor Strange, who's like, I mean, hey, it's nice of you to be able to save them from their bad things that are happening, but like they're just gonna go back to the second right before they die. So even if they have a change of heart, not really gonna mean much.
it kind of depends on what happens. I mean, timelines,
Yeah, it
Steven.
depends on the multiverse. Yeah.
Yeah, these versions of them could go back and it's a new branch,
Mm.
which is so fucking cool. Um Having seen the branches from Loki, like knowing what that looks like now, my god. Like where, by the way, where backwards on the timeline does it happen that creates the Raimi verse and the web verse? Like how do those form off of the main timeline? Like
Mhm.
how far back do you have to go to, like what events do you prevent from happening to create those? My god, my brain is so wrapped into this awesomeness. Anyways,
I like
back to
one
this.
thing too that I liked as well because all the villains were ripped out of time right before their death, essentially. But the heroes, the ones that we got to see, especially like Tobey Maguire, when we get to see him in this movie, he's old, like he is in real life, of course, but like he got to live his life. We get to see him at a time well beyond the movies, which I think is cool. And with Andrew Garfield,
Holy shit.
it's not
That
quite long after the movies. We don't know anything about Andrew and what happens to him other than
we know enough though,
yeah.
because of how he's again, like as soon as Andrew's in this, he starts stealing the show.
I
He's
did
so goddamn good.
I did like his emotions. Though at the same time, I felt like they were unearned in this movie because especially the scene where he saves MJ and he's breaking down. I was like, "Oh, that's super cool that he learned and if he had a chance to relive that moment, he would actually be able to save her." And he's crying because he realizes that and he feels the upsetness and the depression and he knows that he could do better. But this
but he's
isn't your
also he also did
franchise.
it.
Yeah.
I don't care, dude. I don't care if it's not his franchise,
I
but
kind of
like
care.
I don't. That
It's a
was
very
such a good
emotional
moment.
moment that I loved, but it was an unearned moment in this movie.
I feel it's earned because of how they talk about it. Like I lost someone, and because of it, I stopped holding my punches.
Hmm.
Like him saying that, like him being like, I stopped holding my punches, and I don't want you to end up like me. Like him saying that, like, and it makes perfect sense as that's where this Spider-Man goes. Like after Amazing Spider-Man 2, like after he fights Rhino, like what happens? Like he's gonna keep doing his thing, and he's probably not gonna like. It makes sense that he would kind of get. We see like the dichotomy of it. Like, of course, Toby Spider-Man is probably gonna be more Peter Parker than Spider-Man. So we see him introduced as Peter Parker, and when we see, which by the way, such a perfect open when he says, "Bring me to Peter Parker." Bring me to Spider-Man, and it opens and we see the mask turn, and I knew right away.
Like that's not the
Not
right Spider-Man.
because the eyes were so perfect.
Hmm.
Like that's such a good shot. But of course he shows up in the Spider-Man suit. Because he is like he was a people literally Toby's a better Peter Parker. Andrew's a better Spider-Man. So of course they show up and do that. Right? They
Hmm.
they show up like that. And it's so good. And he's so good. He's so witty as Andrew is just so good, and like Toby is so good as the like wizened Peter Parker. He is exactly how his character would be after that time. Like,
Toby is almost Peter B. Parker from Into the Spider-Verse.
but had a better life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, 100%. Like they're so good in it, and like those moments when it's all three of them together. They have that moment where
I
like
do love the dialogue of them talking like, What's the biggest villain you fought?" "Oh, I fought
okay, that's
a
great.
purple alien goo." "Oh, I fought a Russian rhino." "I'm lame." "You're amazing, Spider-Man."
No, I'm like, no, you're not lame. You're amazing.
Yeah. I,
You're amazing.
I
You're amazing. I love how long that goes.
Yeah.
Because it's like it does the perfect loop of being like, oh, this is funny. Oh. It goes long and it does the perfect little. Is this funny? Oh yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
And I love the. I made some web fluid for the cartridges, and Andrew being like, "Oh, sweet," and then like Toby being like looking confused and being like, "Wait, what?
You need what?"
What do you through? Whoa!"
And then them discussing it like, "So how do you like you produce fluid in your?" I don't want to talk about this stuff, right?
And he's like, no, I understand. I'm not trying to be weird or anything. And like Tom up top being like, it's just we can't do that. So we're like naturally curious. And like an older Peter Parker being like, I get it. I would have been the same way as them. If shoe were on another foot.
Yeah.
Like it's so goddamn, and seeing them do the science shit together. Oh my god. And dude, the moment like so to get to arguably the moment when the fight in Happy's apartment when everything goes awry, and Peter gets the biggest tingle he's ever gotten, which was such a cool fucking moment where like it was deafening that spider sense moment, and having him like him and Goblin's fight is so fucking rad.
It is really cool. Like, don't get me wrong. It was my favorite fight watching Green Goblin versus Tom Holland. It was so chilling too, seeing it in the finale as well when he's laughing as he's getting his face punched in. But like
yes.
at the same time, we don't have a villain like that for Tom Holland, and that's what made me upset.
because of this villain, we don't have it yet because of where this goes. Because Aunt May's helping with everything, and the fight falls to the lobby literally. May's there. May stabs the serum into Norman, doesn't do anything, and then she gets hit with the glider and she's down. And immediately my heart sunk. I'm like, shit, she's gonna die. The bomb is thrown. She doesn't get up right away, and I'm like, oh my god, she's dead. And then she gets up. And that, at first, I'm like, oh, thank God, she's going to be all right. And then she's kind of stammering a little bit. She's a little shell shocked. I'm like, maybe she's just shell shocked. And then I realized where this is going. And then she says the fucking line.
Yeah, she had to say the fucking line. Which
great power also comes great responsibility.
Which does make me wonder.
The moment she says it is the moment my heart sunk, because holy shit, this is the best this line has ever been delivered to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what happens next.
Mm-hmm. I do have a question though.
Yeah.
Didn't Uncle Ben die in this universe? Is
Discuss
that Uncle Ben saying?
We'll discuss this.
Not right now.
Because let me be emotional for a second, because I'm honestly tearing up thinking about this moment. Because she says the line. And he's like, and you can see something's wrong. And then she falls. Peter touches her back real quick to see if she's okay, and his hand's covered in blood. And they're together, and you have arguably, like, the moment then when she stops living, and we get Andrew's moment with Gwen, his breakdown of being like, no, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
We get Tom's moment of that, where Aunt May is in his arms.
And she dead.
She's dead. Like, sure, Peter's lost people. Like, whether or not this is where we'll discuss the Ben thing. Whether or not Ben exists in this universe doesn't matter at this point. Sure, he could have lived and died. It doesn't need to be his line though, because the first time we ever hear that line, by the way, is in the comics, is not spoke by Uncle Ben. It is the opening panel and just said in it, with great power comes great responsibility. It's not by Uncle Ben, I think, until the 80s when it's in a flashback that is said by Uncle Ben. So with that, like, it's not definitively Uncle Ben's line. It's just a line that defines Spider-Man. So the fact that we got 3 movies, and I know this is a weird way of putting it, 3 movies to reach this point in Spider-Man's life, to build a relationship with our Uncle Ben, who is our Aunt May in this. We had 3 movies with her, as, you know, in the Spider-Man movies. She was in Civil War, so we were introduced to her there. Like, she's been in this franchise for a while.
And she dead.
And she's dead. What a fantastic way to do the start of what is going to be Spider-Man's story. Like the most comic accurate Spider-Man story we will get. Like, holy shit. That is powerful, because you don't expect it. You don't expect Aunt May to be the one to say that line, because it's so synonymous with Uncle Ben because of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Like, that is why it's so iconic to people. And for it to be Aunt May, and then them go to the rooftop and him say, she said before she died, with great power, and Toby to be the one to say, comes great responsibility. And him go like, how do you know that? And Andrew being like, Uncle Ben said that before he died.
It all clicked.
Maybe this happened for a reason. Because that is their definitive thing. With great power comes great. That is the Spider-Man mantra. Like, every Spider-Man has their own version of that. Whether, you know, every Peter Parker pretty much has great power, great responsibility. Miles and Gwen have their own, like, they have that. And, like, they have that bond. And it's just, like, that scene where they have that moment where it's like, holy shit, like, she was Uncle Ben. And we got 3 movies of her and Tom's relationship together. Their family cohesion they have. For us to get to that moment. No other's going to do that. Like, that's like letting Martha and Thomas Wayne live for 3 movies before Batman. Like,
one thing that I do feel like Spider-Man in his story is always inherently based around tragedy. Where
yes,
he grows past his problems to be a better person and do what he can to save everybody else. That's always Spider-Man's story. Which, it's just heart-wrenching to think that, like, if you think about time as a circle, like, no matter what you do, same thing will always happen. So like, no matter how hard Peter tries to save the day, he's always going to lose the person closest to him, and that's what's going to drive him to be a better person.
It's Parker luck.
Mm. Like, you even think about it with like other characters. Iron Man, sure, his big thing, his heroic thing that happened was he was attacked by his own weapon, and because of his foolishness, he decided to become a better person, and it took 8 movies for him to finally get past his ego to be able to see that there are others out there who could save other than himself, kind of thing. And with Captain America, sure, he lost, he's a man out of everything, but it's not quite like as emotional, because his loss of everything is he was displaced in time and there was no fixing it. While
and his thing is more about being the unmoving tree by the river.
Yeah,
like that is Cap's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man's thing is about beating your, like, essentially being able to beat your inner demons, your inner self, and be a better person from it. Spider-Man's story is about tragedy. As fun-loving as Spider-Man is, tragedy follows wherever he goes. It is just how it is. And what a good tragedy it is to watch. Because, my God, we get that scene, and then we get to the end where he makes the choice. And the moment he says, make everyone forget Peter Parker, my heart sunk so fucking fast. Because I'm like, oh my God, of course that's the answer. Where else does this go? That is the only option. Because, like, we've seen slowly throughout this movie that he's lost things. Like, when he was in the spider suit, he no longer has what's his
Wednesday, the AI.
Yeah, he doesn't have Wednesday. So he doesn't have the Stark. He doesn't have the Stark tech. I know everyone complained about the Stark tech. He doesn't have it in this, really. Yeah, he's got the nano, but like that's it. He doesn't have like the connection to Stark Industries because it's been cut off. He doesn't have the Avengers to help him on this. This is his problem. He, so like because he, he's trying to solve this, and like we get to that point where he says that, and I'm like, that is the most Peter Parker answer to this. Is that, of course, the answer is forget me. Because that is the level of sacrifice he's willing to go. Sure, Iron Man was willing to die for something. Spider-Man is literally willing to go out of existence for it.
Though I gotta say, in this moment, sure, the Spider-Man loss was a very touching thing. But I so agree with Zendaya in this moment where, like, sure, it was Spider-Man's constant changes that caused him to mess up the spell. But it was definitely Doctor Strange was the one who fucked up. But it wasn't Doctor Strange who fixed it. It was Spider-Man who fixed it. I mean, well, technically Doctor Strange did fix it.
It's both. It's both their fault.
It's 100% Doctor Strange's fault.
It's Strange's fault for allowing listening to a teenager before giving him other options.
I did think that was funny. The whole you didn't even plead your case to the university before you tried to make me brainwash the entire planet. Door slams in his face.
You can do that? Me in the theater. You can do that? Having never gone to college.
See, I got accepted into college the year before I even graduated from high school. I was fine.
Fair enough. But like, dude, it's just, and the fact that like they got everyone to come back, like they got, I can't remember their names, the 2 who played Lizard and Sandman also came back, but they've aged quite a bit, so that's why they did the CGI versions of them.
I was about to say, with Sandman, what they did, they were both completely CGI, but even like Flint Marko in person, they reused his footage from Spider-Man 3.
Yes, they did, but all the voice lines and talking is him, is the actor.
Yes.
Same with Lizard, which is, I think that's pretty smart on them. Like, if it's going to be a noticeable change, like they were able to de-age Dafoe and Milena perfectly fine, because like they, from where they aged from then, they
barely
haven't
look any
changed
different.
a ton. Yeah, exactly. And Jamie Foxx hasn't aged. Yeah. So, and he's not blue in this, so
I do gotta say, I did like Jamie Foxx Electro a lot better in this movie than I did the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I
It's
thought
good comedic relief.
exactly, but I still felt like he was out of place. For sure.
But you're supposed
yeah,
to.
he's supposed to feel out of place. Let's talk about other villains really fast, because we talk about Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. He's our first antagonist that we meet, and he's the first one converted to Spider-Man's cause, which was cool, and I liked it. I was totally fine with that. I was willing to let that go. Second one that is healed, Sandman, and that one was cool for sure, but I don't know how I felt about Sandman in this movie, because he was just kind of there, you know? He wasn't really a part of the movie at all. He was kind of a voice of reason, but he was more just like, just there.
He was there to cause events to happen because he's a dumbass.
Basically, sure.
Because he's very dumb.
Yeah. With Jamie Foxx and his character, like, I don't really feel like he feels out of place because he's from like a different time, like a different universe, and he has a different way of presenting himself and talking and whatnot. I feel like he's out of place just because of like his powers. They almost feel too strong, I guess, now. Even though it's because he's being charged by the arc reactor and he's never been charged by an Infinity Stone, essentially.
Part of the reason why he's stronger is because the energy is different there, though. They kind of hint to that. The reason why I think the energy is different there is because in the worlds of Amazing and Raimi Spider-Mans, their science worlds are more focused on the biological science. They have entered a world known for its technological science. And like,
I mean, I wasn't even at the point I wanted to talk about, but I get you.
that's my reasoning for why he's going to be stronger. Like, by default, he's going to be stronger using the energy there, because like it is going to be stronger because like it is a tech-based science world.
Yeah.
So,
but ultimately, like, all these villains, they do good things and they're interesting and complex in their own ways. All except freaking Reptile Lizard Man.
Lizard, yeah, hangs out in a truck.
Yeah, he's in a jail cell for half the movie where he doesn't speak until it's a joke that they're like, oh, he speaks, what do you know? And then he hangs out in the back of a fucking truck, and he's supposed to be this bad guy that we're afraid of, but literally one of the three protagonists is like, oh, I've dealt with him before, I've cured him in the past, this is no problem.
I don't think you were ever supposed to feel that way entirely. It's funny that he fucked Strange up, though.
Yeah, I did appreciate that.
Because, I mean, if you don't know what you're dealing with, the lizard will fuck you up.
Yeah, the lizard was so bad. And, like, one reason I was also kind of disappointed, too, is in the comic book world, we know one Peter Parker can defeat the Sinister Six. But in this movie, we needed 3 Peter Parkers to defeat the Fabulous 5.
Okay. My counter argument to that. Most of the time, that Peter Parker has been through enough by the time he fights Sinister Six. And hasn't gone through the lowest moment of his life. This Peter Parker has just hit rock bottom. He is not going to be in a state to be able to fight the Fabulous Five. Speaking of awesome moments, that moment where after Melina goes, Peter, my boy.
Peter,
my boy. You grew up.
Yeah.
You grew up.
I do gotta say, my favorite emotional moments were actually, my favorite 2 emotional moments were Andrew Garfield saving MJ and him like crying over not being able to save Gwen.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that for sure. And then my other favorite one was Toby stopping Tom from killing Green Goblin.
God damn. Like, I know he did the Tobey Maguire face of the... But, like, that's all he needed to do.
Yeah, I like that no words were said. It was a much more powerful scene with just an expression than it was with words. The only one that I think I would have accepted words from would have been MJ. If it was like Tom Holland, or sorry, if it was Andrew Garfield being like, "You're better than this," I'd be like, "Fuck you, Andrew! I'm gonna kill this asshole." But
And then
yeah.
the world forgets. And then, which by the way, I do like the additions of the Statue of Liberty. I can't wait to see those
How
finally
long?
finished.
How fucking long until we get to see Rogers the musical on Disney Plus?
Are you not watching Hawkeye?
No, I am. I know it's on Hawkeye as well, but like,
Okay.
how long until you think they release like Hamilton on Disney Plus? But it's
I would
Rogers the
watch
musical.
the shit out of it because it's not going to be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be terrible, but I would
I
watch.
hope canonically it has the same issues as the Spider-Man Afraid of the Dark or whatever it is, Out of the Dark, the musical that is like synonymously been horrible. I hope it's real.
I want them like with how hard they also show it in Hawkeye too. I'm like, there absolutely has to be a thing where Rogers the musical is gonna be fully released on Disney Plus at this point. They're hammering it in too hard.
Do we put it on the list if it is?
I'm gonna say no. Only
But it's
because
canon.
it's canon, but it's a play within a play or within a movie. So it's
I'm fine with defaulting it to above
see
Carnage. Let there be Carnage.
see what would happen is if we had Rogers the musical in the list, we would also have to put the tragedy of Loki from Thor Ragnarok.
If it got released. If it got released as its own thing. Which again, I would be 100% down for. And I know you would be too.
I'd probably see that
because
yeah.
it would be funny.
But the reason I want to talk about too, since we brought up Hawkeye, let's talk about freaking.
Oh yeah, before we get to the part
cameo.
that like the end, yes, the brick.
The brick scene, yes. So I was
What
the
a brick to drop.
Yeah, I was the first person to be like, "No way," in my theater, because
Did you say that audibly?
yes,
That's awesome. I sat there and like they pan to the scene and like I saw there was a screen grab of like him there and I'm like, but like some people are like, I don't know, it looks like it's edited and stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't know if it's real. I don't know. I can't tell. But like some of the other images were like confirmed and stuff like that. Like yada yada. There was a lot of things where like it could have been real, could have been fake. And the cane goes into frame.
yeah, you see the cane, and I'm like, "No," and then you fucking see the glasses, and I'm like, "No." Matt Murdock,
Cox as Matt Murdock shows up.
and I just like, I love that he was able to catch the brick before Spider-Man could. And how did you do that? I'm a real good lawyer.
Really good lawyer.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, which like spoilers for things like Hawkeye. I think
spoiler.
yeah.
Let's get ready to spoiler!
Perfect way to perfect week to do that because that released last week's episode released.
Say.
And you're like, holy shit, is that gonna actually be? Because like it's grainy enough that it might not be.
Yeah. Except for he tweeted when the episode released on Twitter.
Yes, I know, but again, it's grainy enough that it might not be if you're not on Twitter.
Yeah, it may not be him. It might not be him. And then the very fucking next day, when they release freaking the movie, yeah, it's definitely him.
He's real. Yeah, no, that's it. That's Kingpin.
That's fucking Kingpin.
That's so fucking cool. I love being a nerd. It's so fucking awesome. Holy, which, by the way, means all of the Netflix shit is canon.
Because they all connect. So how long until we see like
Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Danny Rand as the Iron Fist? How long do we see them?
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing like Iron Fist meet Shang-Chi.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so fucking awesome. Oh, so cool. So cool. That is such an awesome moment though, that catch and just like, oh yes, we needed this. This is amazing. Other thing. So to get to the end of this movie. We get the scene, the heartbreaking scene in the diner. Because it is Tom's acting in that scene is gut wrenching.
Yeah, him losing Aunt May and
Well, and then him after losing Aunt May, and then him going to talk to MJ and not being able to do it because he understands. Him making that sacrifice is gut wrenching. Seeing his expression and everything, he acts so goddamn well. And then we get it. He gets the apartment that we know and love, some shitty apartment in Manhattan. He starts, doing some stuff, and then we see him on his phone, police scanners, and then all of a sudden we see on the table there's some bright blue fabric.
yeah,
See him jump out a window.
and the sewing machine and the red spider web material as well.
And we don't see a full shot of it.
We just get like a flash of it and then his face as he dives into the camera.
But as he's swinging around the town, I don't need to see just a dead-on shot of that to know that it is the most comic accurate spider suit we have ever gotten, solely based off of 3 things. A, it's got the red spider on the back. B, it is a bright blue. Not a dull blue, but a bright, reflective blue.
Shining beacon of hope.
And 4, or 3.
I was about to say.
It is, sorry. It is, he is without, it's not a tech suit like he's had. It is going to be a bare bones suit.
It's going to be all about him adapting and learning to be the best version of himself he can be, and not the best version of Iron Man, Spider-Man.
And I can't wait to see where this goes next. Dude, like, straight up. John Watts has done a fantastic job with this, and I can't wait to see his Fantastic Four.
Dude, quick side tangent really fast again.
Yeah.
Thinking of technology suit, I was both like super stoked when I first saw the tentacles absorb the nanotech in Doc Ock's armor. Like, I was like, holy fuck, this is awful. What's gonna happen? This is awful. No. And then it was like, oh, never mind. That was a good
It's
thing.
Bluetooth. That is hilarious.
Yeah, thank God.
That is a hilarious bit because you're like, oh God, what is he gonna be able to do with this? And then the suit goes, Bluetooth paired.
Phone 1 connected.
And immediately has controller and my ass goes, oh, that's actually hilarious.
Yeah,
that
I was like,
makes
oh, that's a
perfect
little
sense.
yeah. It made sense, but I was like, oh man, wow.
For how much the trailer showed off the red going onto the tentacle, by the way, the trailer showed that off like crazy. For it to be a bit and like for him to use the tentacles against him was so good.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's interesting for sure.
So good.
Oh. One thing too, I keep thinking about different topics. I fucking loved like the entrance for both Wong as like, I'm the most famous person in the world. Yes, we know. I understand. And then he just leaves. And also like that makes me think of Doctor Strange. Like how every single time we see Doctor Strange for the first time in a movie, he's floating down from the top of the fucking staircase or something. Like the most dramatic person to ever exist. Like, I make an entrance everywhere I go. I can imagine Wong sitting there and be like, you did the thing again. I did the yes, you did the okay, I'll try better next time.
I'll try better next time. No, you won't.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so good though.
Where do you think Wong was going? Was he dealing with Shang-Chi?
No, this movie takes place before Shang-Chi. So, real quick, timeline-wise, how I think everything adds up. So, post-Endgame timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I think what it is WandaVision and, like, Falcon Winter Soldier kind of happen around the same time.
Okay.
Like, just after Endgame. Um, Spider-Man, no, Far From Home and No Way Home happen next. Um, then it's gonna be Hawkeye and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness will happen around the same time too. Multiverse, I think, will take place after because obviously, like, this movie ends about Christmas time.
Yeah, this movie ends around Christmas time for sure, especially with the
Yeah.
Christmas music playing in the mall.
Yes. So it's safe to assume that, like, Hawkeye takes place just after that. And
Part of me
then,
is going to be paying really close attention to the Hawkeye episode that comes out tomorrow, the finale.
yeah,
To see if there's any discussion of like the Statue of Liberty's shield being knocked off.
yeah, we'll see. Or, we don't know exactly how many months are in between where, like, it could honestly be like, let's be real, Christmas music plays forever and there wasn't snow. It could be like September. No, it's October. No, it's gonna be November. Man, it hasn't snowed in New York yet. November, Jesus. It's November because it's post Halloween. When this movie takes place. And yeah, no, that's accurate. Christmas music playing the day after fucking Halloween. Pretty much. Damn.
With my store in JCPenney, it was literally November 1st was the first day they started playing Christmas music.
Ours played the week of Black Friday, thankfully. I heard the first one play, and I'm like, fuck, it's supposed to start after Black Friday. Anyways, or at Black Friday, whatever. So, we'll get Hawkeye, Multiverse of Madness after that. I think Shang-Chi takes place after that. Eternals, I think, probably happens after Shang-Chi. Because we would have seen something about a giant thing coming out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's tough. It really is tough because we're not really given much information.
Yeah. Which is fine. It's fun to do this. I like doing the figuring out the mapping of the universe before the universe lets us know.
So I literally typed in Marvel Phase 4 timeline, and all they're showing me is like release dates and things.
Because no one knows officially yet, so.
I'm trying to think anything else that. Can't really think of anything else specific to talk about, honestly. Covered a lot in this movie. We've spent a lot of time on spoilers.
I'm not surprised. And to Marcus's point, Andrew, Spider-Man movies, do you think Andrew need to get involved with story D? Oh, from Morbius? Sorry, we kind of, like, I meant to get to that earlier, but we kind of really, like, went off. I don't know. My personal opinion. I think that I think for Andrew, like, because I don't know if you noticed, Spider-Man, make Amazing Spider-Man 3 was trending a lot recently,
I did not notice that.
and understandably so. Like, I would love a Spider-Man 3 with Andrew. Like, give us it. Even if it's animated, I'll take it, dude. Or like have him team up with Morbius or something if he's in his universe. Whatever.
I was about to say, what's going to happen is we'll just have Andrew pop in suddenly out of some random movie. If it's not Morbius movie, it'll be some other DC franchise.
A Marvel franchise, asshole.
They're all the same. He'll show up in the
In Hellboy.
totally, yes, sure. That no, he'll show up in the new Ghost Rider movie that's starring Keanu Reeves. It's not a thing.
I know you are, but that'd be funny.
Yeah, I really don't know what else to talk about. I think we've really covered everything that I can think of. There's something else about the finale you wanted to talk about? I think we said there's one more thing before we started talking about Matthew Murdock.
Oh, yeah, I got back to it. The suit.
Okay.
This is going to going forward. This is the most, most the most Peter Parker Spider-Man accurate to comics we're gonna get going forward, which is awesome.
Even more
Right.
accurate than Miles Morales?
Arguably. Yeah, I think so. Now, the real question is this better than Into the Spider-Verse? Definitively, from a critically casual standpoint, I think it's not, because you gave that a perfect 10.
I was about to say, at the top of my mind, no. I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is awesome, specifically because it's a new style of animation that we've never seen before. Up until they released it for the first time. And then they had to copy it.
Dude, if it ends up in this universe at some point, man, does that beat Endgame?
We'll see.
By default, I think we're in agreement that it's better than No Way Home, so it would become number 2. I mean, I will say, because they did drop a tease, the tease does say, meanwhile, in another Spider-Verse. Which is a term that you use for, any Spider-Man universe kind of thing, So, I mean, it's entirely possible that he exists in the MCU. Which I do think is funny that, Jamie Foxx line, being from Queens and helping the poor a lot of, that you'd be black.
Black Spider-Man out there somewhere. Yeah, I laughed.
The audience being like, ah.
I definitely laughed at that one for sure. I mean, a lot of the lines that were very much fan servicey lines, I laughed at for sure. Like, I love the Peter science scene where it's like, Peter, yes, I mean, and they all said the exact same thing. Parker,
and they did the pointing.
Yeah,
it's the meme. It's the meme.
Yeah,
all the Spider-Man pointing.
And it's like computer. It's like, oh yeah, sorry. And then they just pretend that wasn't an awkward moment just then.
Or I'm a bit of a scientist myself. The fact that we got to hear William Dafoe say that again is just chef's kiss. We know the only reason why he said it is for the fans, but it's just it does make sense that it's something that he has said before, so he would say it again. Peter being like, hey, I'm gonna do some science shit, and William Dafoe being like, well, I'm a bit of a scientist myself.
Oh, I do.
Peter.
One thing I do love too is I love how J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, we see his perfect broadcast, and then we cut to him in real life, and it's literally what I'm
so
doing right
good.
now.
It's so good.
And then later on in the movie, because he was the one to drop the bomb, he's become famous. So now he actually has a real movie set.
Daily Bugle pills.
The Daily Fix.
I love that, they took, again, I should have seen where May was going from this, with the fact that, they took what, Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man did with, J. Jonah Jameson, from PS4, making him more of an Alex Jones type. Again, from there, should have made the connection, having that and Feast. May's gonna die. So... Oh, man, what a good fucking movie, though.
Definitely good.
God, and I love what it's done to the list. I love that literally 20 years of movies are on this list now. That feels, And if we get to add the X-Men, even better, because like I know there's gonna be a lot of schlop on here, because like X-Men Origins Wolverine, I could argue would be worse than Venom.
I guess it depends
Like,
on which timeline shows up. The
Steven,
X-Men.
they are Days of Future Past happen, they're all connected.
Sure they are.
The only one that you could argue might not be connected is Logan. And I swear to God, if we don't put that on the list and the rest of the X-Men movies are on there, I swear to God, I will put up a fight.
I was about to say Logan's the best X-Men movie there is.
Yes,
So.
yes. So if one X-Men hint happens, we are putting them all on there, and I swear to Christ, Logan is going on there. Which also means Deadpool's on there.
I could see Deadpool being on there. I mean,
Which, man, does that mean, oh my God, does that mean the Korg Deadpool trailer reactions thing that happened is canon?
for Free Guy. So Free
Yeah.
Guy is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well.
Is that canon? If that's canon, that's hilarious. Like, I mean, it's in the MCU, but is it in the MCU? Because like Deadpool could just be breaking the fourth wall.
Of course, that's what Deadpool does.
Exactly. So he's just watching the trailer for the movie with Korg, who has no idea what this is.
And he's like, "What the hell's? How did I even get here?"
Man, the fact that commercial might actually be canon is, goddamn, what a time to enjoy like superhero stuff. Like, I swear to God, like I was worried that like after Endgame we would, Marvel may not hit as hard. But like,
A lot of people were worried about that, honestly. But you gotta think about this. We had a 2-year break from all Marvel movies. We get 4 movies this year, and we have a 50-50 on them. Where,
well,
based
I
off
would
of popular
say-
demand of the entire country, 2 of them were considered good and 2 of them were considered bad.
I don't think Black Widow was considered bad. It bombed compared to what it needed to opening weekend and stuff like that, but like also they didn't do a great job for that movie and stuff like that. And also like it was the first Marvel movie post pandemic. So like of course it's not going to do as well. Eternals is arguably the most debatable Marvel movie, but I don't think, like, again, Steven, we put it at 19 or we had it at 20 right now. Which I mean, is middle of the road. I wouldn't say it's a 50-50. You know what I mean? For the sense of like Marvel movies so far this year. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's on the lower echelon, but it's not a bad movie. But yeah, and then the other two we got are top 5 movies for us.
The other 2 movies were freaking great. It's like you could tell which ones they put more thought into. Because
I feel like they put tons of thought in the other 2.
Well,
It's
sure,
just,
yes. But I have tons of questions now too because of the other 2. Like, supposedly, according to the comics, the Watchers and the Celestials are entities that are fighting each other since the beginning of time, essentially. But to me, based on my outside knowledge, that doesn't make sense because the Celestials are, sure, intergalactic threats, but the Watchers are multi-dimensional beings, which to me that feels more powerful than intergalactic threats.
well, in the comics, they're not multidimensional beings. I will say that. They have definitely expanded upon the powers of the Watchers. Mind you, like, maybe there's different levels of Watchers, if that makes sense. Much like there's probably multiple levels of Celestials. Like, there's probably, like, the high Celestials, which maybe are from a multiversal, like, size. One universe must end for another high Celestial to begin.
Maybe. And then, isn't that how like Galactus was made too? Like he was just a normal man, and then his universe was destroyed. But he was so stubborn that when a new universe was made, he was made
You're
into.
asking me to make a really far pull.
Okay.
Galactus is the last thing on my mind right now. Give me time to, like, if you're gonna bring up something, give me a moment to like refresh. Like, last time I thought about fucking Galactus.
No worries. It's been since Fan Four Stick, probably.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I was like, man, I would rather watch Cloud Galactus than this shit. All right,
I guess moving on to news.
let's move on to news.
I never know when that thing's gonna end anymore.
I do. It's deep, deep, deep. That's S.
Yes, that's the end of it. Um, the movie news. Obviously, we already heard that Spider-Man is the third largest grossing opening weekend in all of cinema history.
Which is nuts. I mean, what's above it? It's Endgame and what? It's give me a second. It's not a fast movie. It's is it Infinity War? No. I think it beat Infinity War. What is it? What is it? Give me a second. Let me think. You're looking it up, right?
huh?
You have it?
I just pulled it up.
So number one's Endgame.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Is it a Harry Potter movie?
this has been updated recently.
No, it's not a Harry Potter movie. It's not a Transformers movie.
So, according to this, because I don't think you're gonna get it. According to Box Office Mojo here, the top opening weekend of all time goes to Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
Second place.
Let me try let me get three guesses.
So,
Can I get a hint of some kind? Your choice on hint.
well, I'm gonna say that news has changed.
Oh, is it now Spider-Man in 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, give me a hint about 3 then.
Another Marvel movie.
Was it Infinity War?
Number
I didn't realize
four.
Infinity War was.
Yeah. Number 4, the one that you were confused of, is a Star Wars movie.
Oh, Force Awakens.
Yes.
That's what it was. Okay, that's what was 3. Okay, right.
So yeah, it was.
I knew the answer. I knew it was a big franchise. Duh, it's Force Awakens. Duh. Duh. What?
Yes. So it was Endgame, Infinity War, and The Force Awakens. Now
Of
it's
course.
Endgame, No Way Home, and Infinity War.
I mean, No Way Home definitely earned it. Like with what they did, it's Spider-Man Endgame, so easily gets second spot. I ain't mad.
Other news, The Witcher season 2 is coming out, or is already out.
It's out, and I've binged it
Nice.
in 2 days.
I haven't even
good.
seen season 1 all the way through yet. I'm excited because The Expanse season 6 just started coming out, and I love that show. So if you haven't watched The Expanse on Amazon, I recommend it. Sure. Hawkeye series finale premieres tomorrow. Oh, watch that if you have Disney Plus. There's always next week's movies, but I'm pretty sure there was something else I wanted to talk about first. What was it? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that was it, I guess, then.
All right.
Yeah, the only other thing to talk about is next week's movies. Which...
Man, from what I've heard, it's got to be interesting.
There's already people dropping reviews online, and I'm like, how? The movie isn't even out yet for us laymen.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
How-
People get to go see things early.
Yeah, people get to see them early, but how are they able to break NDAs so early?
Because it's written that way.
Ugh.
Because reviews need to come out before a movie comes out so people can make an educated decision before going to see it. Like myself. I might watch this on HBO Max. Depending on how. What? Well, yeah, I might have to because the only day I could really make it there would either be I'd take my one day off this week that isn't Christmas and go see it, or take Christmas and go see it.
Indeed. All I know is I also want to see Nightmare Alley, but that's not what we're watching next.
No, we are watching The Animatrix and The Matrix Resurrections, which I'm guessing did you avoid the trailers for?
I did the trailers for the
Okay.
most part. I do know some subtle things. Like I know.
Do you know what he still knows?
No.
Okay, it's a minor. It's not. It's not even going to be really a spoiler, but it's a line that I'm going to say at the end of the show. Okay, I
Okay.
have to
No
because
worries.
of where I ended where I ended the week we did Resident Evil, leading into the Matrix. I have to say a line
We're
that
we're
is
go.
relevant.
We're going down the rabbit hole. I get.
Yeah, kinda for us, yes.
So yeah, next week, Animatrix and the newest Matrix movie, Corrections. One could argue that maybe this is technically the third Matrix if they pull like a Tarantino and say Resurrections and Revolutions or Reloaded and Revolutions were same movie.
Yeah, I mean they kind of probably are. Like, I mean,
I would treat that's why I asked if you'd put them together or not. Like I'd make them the same movie.
I mean, kinda. I mean, but one's arguably better than the other.
You're not wrong.
Saying something. All right.
All right, so yeah,
Well then.
that's it for us here. We will see you next week. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for everyone who showed up and was interacting
And
with
then
us today.
next week also I get to I do the yearly tradition of adding up our points, figuring out our average scores, and seeing who was the biggest winner and biggest loser.
Yeah, and even though I got yelled at the most, we'll find out that I gave the highest reviews on
Highest average reviews.
Yeah,
I was the most volatile. I mean, that's beside the point.
it's almost like that's the whole premise behind our show or something.
I never claimed it wasn't.
I know. Oh, jeez.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, everybody. Have a good one.
I still know Kung Fu.